Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
We have an exciting case study for you, and Roland is going to share with you a little bit about his client, Dave. Dave is a part of Roland's breakthrough weight loss coaching group, and Dave has lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, just in the last 3 months.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we thought that it would be really wonderful, A, to celebrate Dave's success.
Go Dave.
Go Dave, but B, to share with you a little bit about the real world of weight loss. What's really helpful, what really propels people forward towards the goals that are important for them. And we believe so much in kind of changing the culture of how we think about weight loss, how we think about sustainable, maintainable, and really human kind of weight loss because media out there makes it look like it's just this magical thing you can do in 1 week or with a special program or detox, and that's just not true.
No.
So we're starting to record these case studies where people have been successful through eating, through moving, through changing their lifestyle, so that we can start slowly shifting the culture of what it's like to be engaged in change. So thank you for agreeing to do
Oh,
this.
you're welcome.
So tell us a little bit about Dave, maybe a bit about his life, work life, home life, and where was he in his life when he first sought out your help?
Well, Dave is a couple years younger than me. He is a father. He's married. He's got 3 kids. He's got a full-time job where he travels locally. So he drives long distances to different customers every single day.
Kind of like how you used to do.
Correct.
You know, did you used to do like 2,000 miles a month or
Yeah,
like
it was crazy. Yeah.
something like
That
that?
that was just for work.
That,
2,000. Yeah.
that was just for work. So you can relate to that.
I can. Eating on the road, tired, stiff at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and hangry.
Hangry.
So he's a busy dad. I'm imagining weekends are full of kids' activities as well.
Oh yeah, he's like the typical like the soccer dad, right? And his kids have 3 different types of sports, academic activities, after school things, daddy daughter dances, all that kind of stuff. And he also splits the cooking half and half with his wife.
Okay, so very, very full life. So when he came to you, he had some weight to lose. He joined your breakthrough group coaching. And tell me what was the reason why he had gained weight or he wasn't able to maintain optimal weight.
Well, he had like me, he had always been overweight, like
Mm-hmm.
most of his life, and ups and downs. The yo-yo dieter, try all sorts of special things, and then keep it off for a while, and then you go back. So he had always relied on sort of like the quick fix or like the more extreme diets,
Okay.
or diets where you just had to eliminate everything, like oh, very strict rules.
So stop life, start diet.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop diet, start life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they just were not sustainable. I mean, it would work for a while, and then life would get in the way, or something would not go perfectly, and then it would. Oh, I'm just gonna do what I can today, and then it's hard. Like once you start something, it's hard to get back on track. And it was the same with Dave.
Okay. So when he came to you, he didn't have a plan. He had kind of started and stopped. And what kind of investigation did you start with? Did you do something like super in depth or just more like a general investigation to find what he needed to do next?
Well, the first thing I asked him to do was to keep a very simple food log, and not even paper and pencil. Or he was a little bit panicky at first. He was like, "Oh, I don't want to record all this stuff on an app. That's a lot of work." No, I said, Dave, all I want you to do is take a picture of your food, everything you eat, on a couple for like the next 3 days, and then the next time we get together, I want to see all those pictures. Because I just wanted to get an idea of the type of things he was eating, not necessarily the amounts or how often or what the total calories are or anything like that, just to get an idea of what a day in the life
Yeah.
of Dave was like.
And did you find out something surprising or was it pretty like straightforward?
Well, I think it was more surprising for him
Mhm.
because like it's similar to like a lot of my clients, and it's similar to how I used to eat years ago, right? I mean, I kind of made quote unquote healthy choices, right? As much as possible, or as much as I thought was possible. And same with Dave. So what I found, what we talked about, was that he is in control of most of his meals. He's in control. He makes his own breakfast already. He'd already been making his own breakfast. He either makes his own lunch or he gets to choose what he has for lunch at a restaurant,
Okay.
right? And then he makes 50% of the meals at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or when looking at the foods that his wife made, they were pretty healthy already,
Oh,
right?
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so he had a lot more control than he thought he did.
So the reason why he wasn't where he wanted to be in his weight wasn't because he didn't have a choice or control, but he just wasn't equipped with knowing what to do.
He didn't know what the best choices were.
Okay, that
And when
makes
he
sense.
got panicky and got in a pinch, or he got, like, as you said, hangry,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know, he didn't have any default foods to fall back on. He didn't
Yeah.
have a plan for when he was hangry. He only had a plan for when things went perfectly.
Yeah, and I think that kind of gets in the way for most of
Hey,
us,
when was the
doesn't
last
it?
time your day went perfectly?
Or do you have to ask this the day I married you,
Oh, that's sweet.
right?
Hmm.
So once you knew that information about his nutrition, did you have to look at movement habits or other lifestyle habits,
Oh, we
like
did.
sleep or anything like
Well,
that?
we did look at that. He had good experiences with walking in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and he was very overweight.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to jump into the gym right away. He wanted to focus on walking. He had a lot of pain in his knees and in his feet. He was over 300 pounds, so we had a significant amount of weight to lose. And he had lost weight before, primarily focusing on walking. But then when his walking partner, his walking buddy, stopped being able to walk, suddenly Dave stopped walking too. Yeah, because it
That's
was
why Batman works alone.
well, he had, one point of failure, right? And when that went wrong, he didn't have a plan to keep going.
Well, and also if you have weather, right? Like that doesn't
Yeah,
work either,
yeah,
right? And we had a lot of weather in California last season.
yes.
It was a lot. It was a winter with lots of weather. Okay, so you looked at walking, you looked at his meal log, and then what would you say out of the interventions that you put in, the positive action steps, and the skills that you built? What do you feel were the things that really made the biggest difference? Because sometimes we can look at, with the 365 community, we have
Mm,
goal setting every month.
right, right.
We do a goal setting, our positive action steps, and habits and skills, and we tie them into symptoms. It's a very complex thing. But at the end of the month, when you look at what really moved the scale, there's particular interventions that really help.
Yeah.
What would you say were the top three for Dave?
Well, the biggest one was I asked Dave if he could commit to 30 minutes per week of simple planning, sort of looking ahead of the week to come.
Okay.
So, what are his eating opportunities, lunches out, the meals he's going to make for dinner, what he's going to have for breakfast and lunch, just coming up with his meal, not a meal plan so much, but like a simple menu and a shopping list, because you have to have, if you want to have healthy food every day, you have to have enough healthy food on hand,
Yeah.
or have a plan to get it,
Sure.
right? So you have to plan. So 30 minutes a week. Sunday he picked, and that was pretty much all it took.
Well, that's excellent.
That was number one.
I find that can be so overwhelming because sometimes, especially with some of my female clients, they'll try to plan for the whole family, and it can be overwhelming. But I find that if we just focus on my client and then we just let the family have their quote unquote normal life, everything goes okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the second thing you guys did that really made a difference?
Dave and I decided that he would lead with protein, right? So when he looks at the meals that he's either going to make or he's going to have out for lunch or breakfast, he has to lead with protein, which means, well, consider getting enough protein for that meal, which is 20 to 30 grams minimum, right?
So more than one egg?
More than one egg. That's like 3 eggs or 2 eggs and a slice of ham. There's a variety. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the protein is, but you just have to have enough of it, because protein is very filling, it's very satiating. It makes you full faster than other macronutrients, and it makes you fat, keeps you fuller longer.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then the second part of that is once you have the protein decided, you make sure to have vegetables at every meal. I'm not just talking about a couple of vegetables like a tomato or a slice of a slice piece of lettuce, but we want to have at least 2 servings of vegetables, which is about a half a bag of typical bag of frozen vegetables, or a good sized salad. Most salads, like if you have a main dish salad at a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant, that's at least 2 servings of vegetables right
Sure,
there. Yeah.
sure. So he led with protein, followed with vegetables, and that sort of became the central building block of his meals.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't tell him he couldn't have bread or he couldn't have like cheese on his burger or anything like that. But you need to make sure that most of the meals are focused on these 2 things
Hmm.
and the rest is a little bit extra.
I find that when you have enough vegetables, you get fuller faster,
Hmm.
and then you digest longer. So it almost pushes the next meal a little bit as well.
Yeah, and I feel like the vegetable part is like the protein is like a right now. It
Hmm.
really helps right now. The vegetables help later and into different multiple days. You're fulfilling a lot of your micronutrient needs with those extra vegetables. It's providing healthy food for the gut bacteria.
Hmm.
So you're feeling better. You're increasing your digestive ability,
Hmm.
and you're sort of keeping yourself on track for a longer period of time. So those 2 things work very well together.
Yeah, and it's such a nice investment in long-term health. If you think about cancer-fighting properties of
Hmm.
vegetables and antioxidants and phytonutrients, it's really hard to build that vegetable bank account in one day.
Yeah.
You really have to do it consistently. And I know for me, when I'm in a rush, and especially having braces,
Hmm.
it's been such a challenge. It's just some things are just not worth eating. And it's been such a challenge to get enough vegetables.
Yeah.
And I have really felt it the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been a challenge when we eat a lot together, right? So it's
Yeah.
been a challenge when you don't make as many vegetables,
Yeah.
right? I don't eat as many vegetables either. So I've had to make a conscious effort to make sure that I get my 2 servings of vegetables per meal as well.
Yep. We've done really well
Yeah.
there. I think we've done great.
Yeah.
So the first thing Dave did was committing to plan once a
Hmm.
week and
Right.
then leading with protein and vegetables. What was the third thing that really moved the scale for him?
Stopping eating when he's 80% full.
Which one of the Greek philosophers used to say that you should tie a little belt around your belly when you sit down to eat, and then when the belt starts to get, and it wasn't even a belt, it was like tie a string around your belly, and when it starts to get tight, you should stop.
I've
Some
never heard that.
ancient
Ancient
wisdom,
wisdom, right?
ancient Greek philosopher
Yeah.
wisdom.
Maybe you should tie it a little bit, 80% instead of 100,
I
right?
do 80%, put a corset on. So
Yeah.
how did you guide him to do that? What kind of action steps did he have to take?
Well, for the first week, I just told him to do that, just 80% full. And it's when he came back the next week, he said it was a little bit hard, but it started
Mm.
to get easier. And that's typical for most people. Like we have spent so many years eating, not considering how full we are, but considering how much we've cleaned from our plate,
Hmm.
right?
Like
Yeah.
a little Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah, exactly. So if we always finish our plate, what does that have to do with being full?
Hmm.
So I I suggested to Dave that he start with either if he's dishing up his own food, start with a smaller portions, right? And then knowing that he could always go back, right? But if he's at a restaurant, mentally or just maybe push it aside, just pre-portion it out to where he believes that's 80%, right?
Hmm.
And then when he gets to that point, kind of check in with your body, check in with your gut, because it takes like 15 to 20 minutes for this
Sure,
connection to tell you that you're full or not. So if
sure.
you eat too fast, you don't give it that amount of time, then you can easily overshoot and be 100 or even 120% full, and then you're like, your belt's bursting.
Yeah. We
You've
wrote
broken that string.
that ancient Greek
That's
philosopher
right.
string. We, the philosopher's stone, the philosopher's string.
No,
We,
yeah.
um, we
It'll be
wrote
our
about,
next diet book.
I know, right? We wrote about this in our book in Slow Down Your Meals.
Mhm.
And it's such a good chapter to remind people that, slowing down has real power.
Absolutely.
So, what I'm hearing you report from Dave's success story is that you not only installed those skills that really made a difference, but those are skills that he can track and he can continue maintaining long term.
Yeah, it's not a specific diet, right? And these rules or these guidelines, they work for anything, any sort of diet.
And especially on a weight loss diet where you need to decrease the amount of energy you eat,
Hmm.
but at the same time stay sane.
Right.
Because if you crash all the time, then it's just not sustainable.
Yep. Yeah.
And he already lost a few years ago with you. He already lost
Hmm.
a significant amount of weight. And so this is the next phase for him. So he has at least another 30 or 40 pounds to
Correct.
go to his final goal. So we want to make sure that we start strong and we stay strong.
Yep. Yep.
Can you tell me just a couple of words as we land this? What has been the role of the coaching group, of the rest of the people in the group in Dave's success?
Well, it's surprising, but I mean, everyone comes in with slightly different needs and slightly different goals, but most of them, they either want to lose a little bit or a lot. And even though everyone thinks that they're different, it's interesting to hear when Dave talks about his questions, asks his questions, that somebody on the other side of the virtual room
Mm-hmm.
says, "Oh, I have the same. I can see them writing. Oh, I'm writing this down." So like Dave will say, "I have this problem, and we talk about this solution, and so over on the other side will be writing it down,
Yeah.
and vice versa." And over time, they get to know each other, and they start to give suggestions to each other, and it's really nice. I can sort of sit back and just sort of like I can guide them
You can
and
facilitate,
support them
yeah.
and facilitate, but they're learning so much, not just from me, but from each other.
That's amazing. One thing that I have found out in my Peace with Food groups is that there's always one person in the group who carries a challenge for the group in the most kind of loudest way.
Mm.
Because we all share our challenges, but there's always one person that will have the most of this one kind of challenge or the most of this one kind of strategy. Um, and it's amazing to see as they work out through it how that's really helpful for the whole group,
Absolutely.
both from
Yeah.
the point of self compassion to go, oh, this is really happening to someone else too, but also from the point of, oh, I'm not alone. Like I'm not like the purple headed alien here. I'm the only one who forgets their lunch at home. There's all sorts of people who do that. I'm not the only one who gets hangry, and I'm not the only one who's yo-yoed in the past and who's kind of done with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's very interesting because, and you've mentioned this before to me, like when I come out of these group meetings, like I'm smiling because the group is smiling, right? When they join the group, like they all come on screen and they're all smiling.
Mm.
Versus a lot of times when I've met people in person, I feel like they feel like they're reporting to me, like I'm like
When
their
it's when
monitor
it's
or
one on
something.
one.
Yeah, and or they have to send an like they're not smiling as much, right? So so it's really nice. And usually I do most of these groups at the end of the day, and I actually started to look forward to them just because everyone laughs and supports each other, and it's really been a good experience for me too.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what an energizing thing to be in the supportive field of the group and then to just see how everyone lifts each other up. So there's that much more energy for change in the group.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. So we hope that you guys got inspired by Dave's success. Dave, thank you. Thank you so much. And congratulations on your weight
Congratulations,
loss.
Dave. Good job.
Keep going. And everyone else who's in the breakthrough weight loss groups, you guys are amazing. I'm so glad that you have the courage and the guts to get out there and go for what's important for you. And do it with somebody who's compassionate and kind and understanding. Weight loss is not my field. I work with pain. I work with the kind of the emotional side of things. But Roland is truly a pro at this, and I'm very happy to hear about the results that your students have.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's really cool. Thank you for joining us and for talking. And hopefully, we inspired somebody who's watching to take a step forward and really take care of themselves or inspire somebody that they love to do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.